Hi folks, how are you doing? I'm the Reverend Danny Crosby, a Unitarian minister serving congregations in Altrincham and in Urmston in the northwest of England. I hope you're finding the love and you're witnessing the blessings in life in these difficult times. It is hard, my friends, but we're all in this one together. I'm offering these devotions as my little bit of hope, doing what I can, playing my role in being a part of the solution. These devotions are offered as a balm of the heart, the mind, the spirit and the soul. And the title for today's little reflection is To Live in Ever Widening Circles. So I invite us just to still ourselves together. Let's invite a loving presence to be here amongst us and to awaken from deep within us. I have lit the flame of freedom in the cup of belonging, acceptance and love. We join together in our physical separation, but united in our devotion to life and to love. Help us to sing for joy like the birds each morning sing their faith in being here and being alive. May we know the deep connections that sustain us, those roots that hold us so close and nurture us beneath the surface of our lives. May we be unafraid to explore the depths of being, those many layers of life. May we remember that we are deeply connected in heart, mind, spirit and soul. May we be open to all that this day brings, to all that life offers, and may we offer our all to life. May our being become a vessel this day and in all the days to come. Amen. I once attended a workshop focused on what is often called small group ministry. We explored our experiences of leading what are often referred to as covenant or engagement groups. It was good to hear and listen to others' experiences. It was lovely to open up to colleagues and to listen to them open up to one another. We truly engaged with the subject. It got me considering all the different groups I have engaged in over the years. And what I love, I think, the most about such groups is that they allow those who are a part of them to truly engage in fascinating ways. When they work really well, they operate in invitational and open ways. And what I mean by that is that when people share who they are, they begin to invite others to do the same. They show me that the most personal is often the most universal. And they also reveal beautifully to me what being open with others is really about. I used to think that being open with another person meant that you told them everything about yourself. But I don't think that anymore. Openness, it seems to me, is more about inviting those you are engaging with to come as they are, exactly as they are, in the moment. Openness, it seems to me, is about opening and widening your circle to include ever more and more people, to invite the other in, and in so doing, they do the same. Thus we create ever widening circles. And in so doing, people can begin to live by what Parker J. Palmer has named soul truth. During the conference, the Reverend Liz Birtles led a group based on the Quaker and educator Parker J. Palmer, inspired by his book A Hidden Wholeness, The Journey Toward an Undivided Life. I love Palmer actually, and his approach to life and spirituality. And I'm going to share with you an extract from A Hidden Wholeness. Here he describes a way to develop a circle of trust which enables those who find it difficult to speak to share their truth. He writes, "In Western culture we often seek truth through confrontation, but our headstrong ways of charging at truth scare the shy soul away. If soul truth is to be spoken and heard, it must be approached on the slant. I do not mean we should be coy, speaking evasively about subjects that make us uncomfortable, which weakens us and our relationships. But soul truth is so powerful that we must allow ourselves to approach it and it to approach us indirectly. We must invite, not command, the soul to speak. We must allow, not force, ourselves to listen. We achieve intentionality in a circle of trust by focusing on an important topic. We achieve indirection by exploring that topic metaphorically via a poem, a story, a piece of music, or a work of art that embodies it. I call these embodiments third things because they represent neither the voice of the facilitator nor the voice of a participant. They have voices of their own, voices that tell the truth about a topic, but in the manner of metaphors, tell it on a slant. Mediated by a third thing, truth can emerge from and return to our awareness at whatever pace and depth we are able to handle, sometimes inwardly in silence, sometimes aloud in community, giving the shy soul the protective cover it needs. Rightly used, the third thing functions a bit like the old Rothschild ink block test, evoking from us whatever the soul wants us to attend to. Mediated by a good metaphor, the soul is more likely than usual to have something to say. But the fact will count for nothing if we fail to recognise that the soul is speaking or fail to pay attention to what it says. Interesting. Here I feel Parker captures beautifully what I would call spiritual intimacy, creating and holding that space that is open and invitational where new truths can emerge and the circles of invitation ever widens. Such circles can be transformative for the individual involved and can affect how they live in their everyday lives. I have witnessed this powerfully with several people who have engaged in the grief group I've been facilitating for quite some time now. But I've seen it in other circles too. I'm moving many circles and they seem to widen and deepen all the time. Now, as I was reflecting on all of this, a poem came into my mind. It began to sing in my heart and my soul, a poem by Rilke. The poem speaks so powerfully to me of what the purpose of living in an engaged way is all about. As we invite others into our lives, we invite more of the true experience of living both in and out as these circles widen and our experiences of life both deepens and widens. I'm not sure we'll ever know more through this, but we'll experience more. And experiencing more, of course, only ever leads to more questions. And thus, to quote Rilke, we begin to truly live our way into some kind of answers. To quote him again, he's worth quoting, Rilke. So here's his poem. It's only short, don't worry. Just 8 lines. I live my life in widening circles that reach out across the world. I may not complete this last one, but I give myself to it. I circle around God, around the primordial tower. I've been circling for thousands of years, and I still don't know, am I a falcon, a storm, or a great song? The poem beautifully evokes the image of ever-expanding spheres, much like ripples on a pond, I think. Those concentric circles ever expanding. And it brings to my heart the idea of moving from the centre of the circle and expanding and stretching ourselves to include ever more of life. As we are expanded, we expose ourselves to new experiences and new people. This is both exhilarating and frightening all at the same time. As the journey continues, fear evaporates, even though the circles are never completed. Certainly not the last circle. That said, one is compelled to give their whole life to the experience. This is the classic spiritual journey, as it's not about the destination. This is not the gift. The gift is always the journey itself. The beauty is not in the outcome, but the experience. And the poem beautifully reminds me how wonderful it is to live in such a way, to ever widen the circle so as to include more people, more ideas, more experiences, rather than to live in contracting spaces that seek to cut out that which makes us feel uncomfortable, which just makes life smaller and life less fulfilling. Now, sadly, we humans do not always live like this. Instead of ever expanding circles, often we seem to be living in ever decreasing circles. This leads to ever more growing distrust and loneliness. As we decrease these circles, we keep out those we see as somehow different as the other. We distrust and violence grows. From this is violence, as we keep them out. We need to keep widening our circles. We need to invite the other in. And Edwin Markham captured this beautifully in the middle section of his poem, Outwitted. The poem is epigrams. The middle section, is Outwitted. Getting a bit ahead of myself there. So here's the middle section of epigrams, Outwitted. He drew a circle that shut me out, heretic, a rebel, a thing to flout. But love and I had the wit to win. We drew a circle that took him in. So what can we do? Well, I believe we can do much. Where does it begin? Well, I believe it begins in our own hearts and souls, in our own homes, in our own communities. We need to begin to expand our own circles. We need to begin to live more invitationally and openly. We need to invite the other into our circle. And of course, this is risky and scary. I know this, but my goodness, we need to do it. You see, to me, this is our ultimate religious role, our ultimate task. For in so doing, we will not only allow others to be less afraid of us and who they are, but we'll also liberate ourselves. It's not an easy task, of course not. But I believe that it's the one thing, it's one that's worth undertaking. Our world needs it. It's one of the challenges of our age. I believe it's our task to ever widen our circle so as to include all, for there can be no limit to love. And how do we do that? Well, it begins by putting love at the core of the circle. And to understand that we need to see love as the circumference of the circle too. And if we do, we will see there is no limit, for no one can be excluded from love. For if they are excluded, it's not love. Love does not exclude. It's not love, it's something else. For love is eternal, love is perfect, and it knows no limits. I'm going to end with another short poem by one of my favourites, Wendell Berry, The Larger Circle. We clasp the hands of those that go before us, and the hands of those who came after us. We enter the little circle of each other's arms, and the largest circle of lovers, whose hands are joined in a dance, and the largest circle of all creatures passing in and out of life, who move also in a dance, to a music so subtle and vast that no ear hears it, except in fragments. So I'm going to end today's reflection with some words of blessing. We need to bless more. We can all bless. We bless by giving our whole hearts to life. So let's begin today. Let's give our whole hearts to life. May the Eternal bless you and protect you. May the Eternal smile on you and favour you. May the Eternal befriend you and prosper you. And may we carry the song of the Eternal with us, and may we do so in all that we feel, in all that we think, in all that we say, in all that we do. Amen.